how do you find your soulmate, also known as the one? Okay, so I'm just going to whiz through. I do quote different things, so there's a beautiful quote, but it might just be so confusing that, like, probably don't concentrate into too much. Maybe pause it after I've said it and listen to it afterwards, in the non-live version of this show. But anyway, the same attraction, continuing part of a sort of a sentence or something. Taking a snippet, the same attraction comes into play whenever a person feels love for another. It is the reflection of the attraction that is inherent in man's nature towards God, as if he is in search for something he misses, the name of which he has forgotten, and which he seeks to find in one thing or another, which he takes up from time to time. So that's a book called The Philosophy of the Teachings of Islam by somebody known as a promised messiah. But anyway, don't think about it too much if that's mind-boggling stuff. Let me just give you a kind of my own little summary, also on the screen, by the way, on the bottom, about what that all just means. When most people find a soulmate, they find out shortly after that they aren't. They aren't the soulmate. They think they're the soulmate, but it turns out not long after that they aren't. Why do we long? Why do we so desperately try to find this mythical, perfect person in our lives? Is it this? It is the same reason why we find peace in nature, or when we hear a beautiful voice. It is our natural attraction towards the artist that made all of them. So again, I tried to kind of break it down, but again, by itself, I think it's quite confusing stuff. I don't know. How confusing was that? That was pretty confusing, Wahid? I don't know.
Well, confusing in a state, maybe it may be confusing for some, and maybe not. May not be confusing for some. You
Cool.
probably
Okay. But hopefully by the end of this longer chat about an explanation about what I just said, hopefully it'll be less confusing. So first of all, this show is going to be a bit of a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe special. Okay, so Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe is a movie, okay, and a book, and I'm picking up on it today because Elon Musk talked about it recently in a really important, popular live stream. Okay, on a TED live stream, whatever it is, right? Okay, and he said recently that it guides a lot of what his ideas are about life. So this is the richest guy in the world, possibly one of the smartest guys in the world, doing some of the coolest things, and he thinks this movie is pretty important. And so I'm giving. And it does reflect a lot of the things that people in Western societies, especially atheist societies, believe. So that's why I'm talking about it, right? So the main character in this movie finds that nothing makes him happy except finding the one, the person who truly loves, right? Okay, this mythology is something the West has accepted, this idea that there is the one, okay, even though their experience is the opposite. Every time they think they have found the one, every people in the West, they find like, oh, I'm in love, right? And then shortly after, it doesn't take long to realize that person is just a human being, as annoying as anybody else. All human beings are just a bit annoying. So it doesn't take long to realize that person is just a human being, as annoying as anybody else, and not going to somehow complete you, right? There are a couple of reasons why we believe in something as impossible as a perfect person. So when we're falling in love, we kind of think that we kind of tell ourselves that person is perfect, which we know deep down is not true. And we believe in this romantic idea that there's this perfect person out there. But why do we believe in this crazy belief, right? Okay, so there's a couple of reasons why we let ourselves believe in this thing, right? Okay, um, and one is that we are social beings in an individualistic, selfish, and lonely society. So we desperately want to connect to at least one person. Connecting with lots of people, such as family and local community does not appeal to individualistic societies. So they want something easier. So basically, just connect to only one person. Once they get the object they desire, they realize that it doesn't bring happiness. So they start chasing another person, as they do with other material things. The fact that we search for perfection, something so beautiful that it completes us, is a clue that our nature desires the only thing that really fits that description of being a perfect thing, and that is God. Only God is perfect. Okay, so it's interesting. So this is a clue that we're actually in search of God. God is the one and our only soulmate. When we realize only God is perfect and find comfort in Him, we are relieved of the need to find the perfect person. Not having to marry a perfect person makes it much easier to find such a person. It makes it much easier to find a person to marry at all. Like if you're finding a perfect person, that's impossible. But if you're just finding a normal person because you stop trying to find a perfect person because you've already found God. Only God's perfect, right? Then it makes finding a nice person to marry much easier, or if not married, just finding a nice person to connect with much easier. Okay, and if we do have a relationship with God through a deep understanding of beauty, because God is not like physical, right? Okay, that will translate into us appreciating deeper qualities in people. In short, nice people are easier to be close to, and so they they are good soulmate material, if there was a soulmate at all. So that's a lot of stuff I said there. Let me ask you a question, or not ask you a question to put you on the spot, like, just let's start breaking it down. So that's my little speech done, right?
Right.
Okay, so what do you so I'm talking about this thing about finding the one.
Mm.
Isn't it weird, or maybe, or what's your opinion, like, about finding this, like, when we fall in love, um we try to think there's some perfect person out there. What do you think about that?
Is it through? Is it to do with a marriage or just or any other person? Like
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I know me and you, we've been talking, right? And you don't mind me saying you've lost both of your parents and you really miss them, right?
I do
Okay.
very.
And so, and the one for you is your mum. Would I say that's right?
Yes, yes, I
Yeah.
do.
So, so even in that, right, we know deep down that nobody's perfect,
No, that's
right?
true.
But
Hundred.
somehow we put all our expectations or hopes in that one person, even in your mum, right? Your
Mm.
mum was, if there wasn't any imperfection, she couldn't live forever, for example, right? She couldn't
No,
control that,
nobody
right?
can. Nobody
Right?
does.
Exactly. So it's just something that we can't really control. So that's the interesting thing. I mean, we've only got a few seconds after my speech, but the point is that, nobody's perfect, nobody can control living forever. And maybe if we stop, this is my thing for you, right? Is maybe don't hold on to her so much and rely on God more, because God is the only perfect thing who can really understand you, and you can really only have a connection with God if that is perfect. Like God doesn't die, for example, on you. God's always standing by you. That's my thought. Any thoughts about that? Maybe
Yeah,
it's a
and
hard thing to do.
it can be hard because obviously you don't have the communication. Obviously he's there, but you miss that communication, and I guess that's it. But he's perfect, and that's it. So um,
Well,
that's
that's interesting you said that, because you also talked about how, although God doesn't like maybe talk to you exactly, but you're
but
saying that God, you're telling me, keeps sending you dreams of your mum,
yeah, he does.
effectively sending your mum to you all the time. So maybe God doesn't say, hello, how's it going? But
Yeah,
maybe God kind of helps you in maybe more useful ways than just saying, hello, how's it going? I don't know.
yeah. Maybe he because I have talked to God in the sajda and namaz, and I've requested that I need to
Mm.
keep connection with my parents, and he has responded by continuously sending them down
Yeah.
to
Perfect. Beautiful.
and
Beautiful.
oh God, he's not going to reply to you or talk to you like me and you are talking man to man.
Yeah. Yeah.
He will talk through maybe dreams. He will interact and
Yeah.
send the people that you loved most. Like
Yeah.
I told my dad before his on his last breath, before he was
Mm.
dying. I
Mm.
said, Dad, can you please request God something? Request
Mm.
him to
Mm.
visit me.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, he's been given the permission.
Alhamdulillah.
I mean,
Beautiful. Beautiful.
how God works in mysterious ways. I mean,
Yeah.
you can talk to him and you can get signs from him through maybe dreams and other various aspects. This is the beauty of God.
That's right. And God is different to depending on each person's needs. So my parents are still alive, so I don't have that particular need, but
Mm.
God helps me in endless miraculous ways all the time. It's just
Mm.
like a non-stop thing, you know. So it helps me in my daily life. Like I might risk not doing, I'll do less work, but then God pays me a different way. Do you know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
can do these shows and things.
Mm.
So cool. Really, that was really interesting. So the next bit is